Welcome to another Devils Down Under episode. Thanks for joining me. Today we'll be talking about no end in sight with the De Jong saga. Ronaldo still up in the air. We've actually managed our third win of pre-season against Crystal Palace, as well as Martinez and Eriksson have both signed, taking us up to 3 signings for the season. Well, pre-season. So let's get into it. We'll start off nice and easy. We'll talk about the Crystal Palace game that happened a few days ago. Man Utd won 3-1, taking us to our third win of the tour so far. What's that, 11 goals for now and 2 goals against, or 3 goals against? So what's happened in that? A lot better. You're seeing that pressing happening for a lot more in the game now. First half, I think we managed 2 shots on target in the whole first half, but interconnecting play is what we're starting to see. So the quick ball movement, not the side to side, backwards, happening every now and again, but nowhere near what was happening last week. So, or even the week before and last season, basically. That's very good to see that the more and more these players are spending time with Ten Hag, that the game is progressing to something that's a bit more pleasing on the eyes, and we won't have to actually resort to watching Man City or Liverpool play, because we'll actually be able to watch our own team play some pleasing football and not a bit of a snore fest like it has been over the last few years with counter-attacking football. So as I said, we only managed to get 2 shots after all our possession, which is around about 70% possession in the first half against Crystal Palace. In the second half, McTominay was dragged straight away, and Donny van de Beek came on. So with Donny van de Beek, obviously he didn't play in the 10 role. He actually played a bit deeper, so in that 8 role that was occupied by Pogba a lot last season when he was fit. Or McTominay or Fred, I don't bloody know any one of those players that have been playing in there. And we actually scored 2 goals in the first 15 minutes of that half. But the thing is, we created a lot more chances. So we actually had 4 chances created, shots on target as well, in the first 15 minutes that he came on before we started making all those wholesale changes. So what I'm getting at basically is McFred needs to die. They cannot be our first choice starters going into next season. Van der Beek gives us that nice option where ball retention, he actually showed a bit of physicality and smartness. And it's not so much what he did with the ball, although that was pretty good. It was what he did off the ball. Something that McTominay and Fred don't have. They don't have that football intelligence to do what Van der Beek does. Drag players away and also drew plays into the game. And as Ten Hag alluded, in and around that 18-yard box, he's a bloody genius. Just link up play, runs, even if he gets onto it or not, he's still dragging that player with him. And that's what created, opened up that space to give all these chances that we had in that first 15 minutes of the second half. So, I would really, really like to see, well, if not Van der Beek, someone else. And this is why I think getting a midfielder is so important for Manchester United this season, in the off-season. The options are McFred or Van der Beek. It's tough. We can't play with these guys in midfield. I don't think it's, when we come up against the Liverpools, the Man Cities, the Chelseas, even the Arsenals and Tottenhams now, they're not good enough. We played Crystal Palace and we had a lot of possession, but these guys weren't creating the chances that we were expecting against a team of Crystal Palace's ilk. No offense to Crystal Palace. But I don't even think it was their strongest 11, to be honest with you, as well. So, because they got a lot of players off, not on the tour in Australia. But, so signing a midfielder, high priority. That's where De Jong comes in. Obviously, there's been no updates on De Jong. Same old. Waiting on Barcelona to see if they can pay him the 17 million euros that was deferred payments for him. So we'll see what happens in that front. But if not De Jong, we do need a midfielder. Someone who can control the play, get it from deep, play passes, make those runs, and open up the game for everyone else. We can't be relying, and I cannot stress this enough, we cannot be relying on McFred next season. Fred's actually been playing okay. McTominay, a good bench player the last 10 minutes ago, if we need to knock the ball long and get players into the box. Yeah, there's not much else I can say about that. Van der Beek illustrated just why we need that extra midfielder. Not just so much for depth, but actually quality to start games and push the other guys on to be better as well. So moving on from that, obviously we won 3-1 in the end. So yeah, we're moving on. That's 3 wins on the trot, and we've got Aston Villa coming up as well next game, which is tomorrow. On another positive note, Eriksen has officially signed for us after they did his strenuous 1 week long medicals that we were talking about last week. He's officially unveiled as a Manchester United player. And what are we noticing different this time round is we're not doing these grand piano playing unveilings of players. We're actually signing players. And just a quick announcement online. I don't know if this has got to change between Murtaugh and... how can I forget his name? Bloody hell. Ed Woodward. Yeah, sorry. Definitely can't forget that guy's name. But yeah, look, there seems to be a change of direction in the way we are announcing players. Maybe because they're not our marquee signings, but I would say Eriksen 2 years ago would have been right up there as a marquee signing for any Premier League, Spanish, Italian, top tier team anyway. So, yeah, it's in terms of that hoo-ha around signings and stuff like that, just short, sharp, get it in. If you can get an interview with them, great. But it's about the culmination and where we go in the season, not a signing here and there to get us excited. We need to know how we're playing. So yeah, we've signed Eriksen. Obviously, Martinez came in earlier as well. And we got Malacia. So that's 3 signings in. Obviously, we're still looking at another player. So we're still looking at De Jong, as I said, in the midfield. We're looking at right back as well. Dumfries from Inter Milan's been mentioned. And then also the right wing with Anthony. But that takes me on to it. We're still very, very, very light on top. I think what's been illustrated in these last 3 games with Manchester United is our games against Crystal Palace, Melbourne victory, as well as Liverpool as well. When we do make those wholesale changes, bar the midfield, which we know is shit, and I mean, Zidane Iqbal and Charlie Savage have been doing an amazing job in the centre, but they're not first team starters or even... I mean, they can play a role here and there, but not even bench players, I don't think. Not ready. They need to go on loan or develop in the under 23s for another year or two still before they can hold that spot down. But we're very light in the midfield up when it comes to depth. Ilanga, I don't know. I still don't know what kind of player he is. I don't know if he's a speed merchant or if he's skill or finesse. I don't think I haven't seen his Jadon Sancho-esque, where you get the ball, knock it about, find spaces, knock a ball in, create chances. He's been more of a Rashford type player from what I've seen lately, and that's just, typically for us, that's another Dan James. We don't need that at the moment. But you take him out, the other ones are Palestri, Ahmad, Diallo. We are very, very, very light up front in those top 3 positions. So the thing is, if Ronaldo goes, which we still don't know what's happening with him, we're up shit creek. We know Rashford gets injured. We know Martial gets injured. Sancho's been pretty good for us so far. But yeah, we take them out. I don't know who we're playing with up front. But the thing is, if Ronaldo ends up leaving, the issue that Manchester United is going to have, and it always seems to happen every single year, because the more time the money's in the bank, the more profit and interest the Glazers make. So we make signings really late on in windows normally. Clubs will know we're desperate. So if Ronaldo leaves, clubs will know we don't have a lot of time left. Not that many options. So for who we do want to go for, we're going to have to pay overs to get. So we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot there. Ronaldo's 37 years old. He wasn't injured a lot, but he can't be expected to play 2-3 games a week. Martial, I mean, he's been bloody brilliant so far this pre-season. He's turning back the clock to what he was a few years ago, and it just shows when Cavani came in, took his number, that confidence, and I think Ten Hag alluded to it as well, that he's a confidence player, and if he can maintain that confidence, he's a bloody good player. His technical ability and hold-up ability and drawing others into the game is second to none in our front 3 at the moment. I mean, Sancho can do it, but in that someone who can play that number 9 role. But yeah, as I was saying, so if Ronaldo leaves, I- I wouldn't like to know what would happen if we did lose Martial or Rashford for a few weeks to injury, which is inevitable, most likely at some stage. Um, this is why it's so important that we go out and sign the Antonys that Ten Hag has been looking at as one of his priority signings for the season. But could have got him for earlier in the window for about 40, 45 million pounds. It's now gone up to 60 million pounds and then some. And that's now even if Ajax are willing to communicate with us now because they've sold so many players. But at the end of the day, it is the Dutch league. They are a selling league. If we can come up with 60 million pounds, and I do say come up with because it's going to be very difficult if we sign De Jong or looking to sign De Jong, and have already spent that much money on Martinez. I don't know where the money is going to come from because Manchester United do not move players on. It's it's like you have these meals and it'd be like, okay, cool. I've cooked a meal. I've cooked a big batch. It's gonna be lasting 4 days. It comes to day four, like, oh no, there's still a bit left. I could probably let it stretch it out for another day or two. Gets a day or two, the partner goes to me, are you going to throw this out? It's been sitting in there for a while. You're never going to use it or eat it. And I'm like, this is what Manchester United do with their players. They sign these players. Oh no, we're better off not selling them because they retain this value. So we don't actually end up selling them. We keep them there. It's a number on our books. We don't actually need to cook a new meal because we're like, oh, there's a new meal in the fridge. There's this old thing in the fridge that we can still eat. It's still good for a few more days. And eventually it's going to pass its expiry date. We can't do anything with them and they have to leave. Hence the 8 players that have left Manchester United the end of this summer. And there's a few more looking that way next year. So nothing's changed in that department in terms of us selling players. Obviously, we talked about it last week with them having high salaries, which makes it very difficult for us to sell them off. But the pleasing thing is that's been so far with the summit signings this year, they've all been under 150,000, which is a lot, but compared to what we have been paying for players, and I know Frankie de Jong is probably going to cost us 350,000 a week, but we're desperate in that department for the midfielders, so we can't really say much for that. But even Ericsson, Martinez, they've all come in for 150, 120,000 pounds a week, which, if things don't work out, they should be a lot easier for us to move on. But is Manchester United willing to do that? We don't know because we just don't know. We haven't seen it for God knows how long. I mean, Phil Jones is at our club. God knows what he's doing. I know he's doing his own routine back in Manchester that he does for pre-season to keep himself, I say fit, but I don't know, adding a bit of aluminium steel or something to the glass that he is. As I said, it could still crack on the inside. Just because you have steel on the outside doesn't mean it can't crack on the inside. So I don't want to get into that because he just fires me up. I don't know why we still have him in this club. So we do need to look at moving on with our signings and getting things going. It's not long now till the season starts. It's about 3 weeks. After, obviously, Aston Villa that we have tomorrow down in Australia. Manchester heads back to England, and then we've got those 2 games on the 30th and the 31st at the end of July, and then 1 week before pre-season starts. So look, there's not much else we can say. We've been banging on it for a few weeks now, and we have been since April or May, whenever Ten Hag came in, that we needed to get these done early. We haven't. We failed the manager in that department. Haven't got his first choices. We've got his second and third choices. All good signings, mind you, but not the choices that he wanted. So, look, Manchester United, to me, hasn't changed in the recruitment process. Yes, they've got rid of a whole new players and there's new people at the helm, but things haven't changed. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks and obviously the next few windows, but that's looking further down the line. And then one more good thing that probably came up in the last week or two that we've been watching a lot of, because we've been getting all this access to the training sessions and everything that Ten Hag's been doing, is training. And Jesus, this guy demands a lot of his players. I mean, he was on the pitch of the game of Crystal Palace saying, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then there's another training. That's another, "What the fuck are you doing?" to another player. He demands perfection. These players haven't had a coach, basically, for the last few years. Even Bruno's come out saying, look, the discipline that's been requested of them now is been needed in the club, and it hasn't been there in the last few years. So to hear all these positive little things that the players have been coasting by, have had it too easy. And yeah, they're starting to have to finally get their ass kicked into gear. Otherwise, I mean, I'd like to say they get moved on, but that's still yet to be seen. But it's good to see that there has been a change, and we have a coach that is actually coaching these players. It is, I can't tell you how refreshing that is to me. But yeah, so every from all the sessions we can see there's a lot of quick ball movement. Ten Hag is on the sidelines directing people. If he's not happy, he's stopping play. De Garg or whatever his name is stopping play if they're not happy, because they know exactly what the coach wants, and they're not afraid to tell the players off to do it. Because I think these players, I mean, yeah, you had the Pogbas, you had all these social media players. Now you still do have a few in the club, but I think yeah, Lingard and Pogba were the two main ones when it came to that. Obviously, Rashford's got his online presence, but it's charity things, not so much. I mean, it's his brand at the end of the day. But yeah, you don't have the other guys going on Instagram doing their little dances and everything like that. So yeah, it's pleasing to see a coach that we have a coach that wants to play. Now, the interesting thing that this brings me to is last year, obviously when things started going shit very early on in the season, players started saying, look, we're not getting coached correctly, we're not getting coached. So how can you expect us to perform on the pitch, because it's a crock of shit that we're getting on the training ground with no training. Yeah, Ten Hag's come in. I don't know what they... So if things don't go right for the club this year, touch wood they do, because I don't have any wood to touch, but down there probably. But look, if things don't go right for Manchester United this season, and things start unravelling, it's going to be really interesting to see what and who the players blame it on. Because from what we've seen, even in the short time period that Ten Hag's been at the helm, they can't blame the training, because this is something by and far the largest and most intense regime they've had in years. So, and we've actually witnessed it in the few weeks that we've seen. We've seen these patterns of play. We're actually seeing intelligent movement in the attacking third, and not just hoof the ball long that we have been doing and hitting teams on the counter like we have seen for the last few years. So yeah, if things go wrong, it's going to be really, really interesting to see what the players decide is the issue. And it's not themselves, because we as fans, we all know that it's the players the main as being the main issue. I mean, Solskjaer to an extent, a lot of that, trying to keep everyone happy, telling lies to players like Bay and stuff that you're going to get game time. But yeah, now we've got a proper coach, doesn't care about all the hoo-ha, social media, everything like that. He just wants his players to be drilled militantly. He's almost like he's a military sergeant. It's his way or the highway, basically. And I, for one, can't wait for the season to get started, because it's something Manchester United's needed for quite some time. So yeah, I'm really interested in that. So obviously we've got the game tomorrow against Aston Villa. The only bright thing that I want to bring into that, obviously, Van der Beek is probably going to start. There's a little rumour that McTominay is injured, so he stayed and trained at the hotel. So it'll be interesting to see how Van der Beek goes with the first team for a full 45 minutes, at least start off the half. And we should be getting more game time, like that 60-minute mark again, like they did to build up the full 90-minute match fitness. But the other one, the interesting one is going to be, because Malacia was right up there for my man of the match in Crystal Palace. Just his positioning, even when we were attacking, the way he tucked in as an extra midfielder, and his off-the-ball movement and everything like that. Even his defending and smart positioning was pretty eye-catching. If Ten Hag is going to play Shaw or Malacia. Now, I'm not saying Malacia is better than Shaw yet. I mean, he very well could be. We just haven't seen enough of him, and I haven't watched enough of him in previous seasons at Feyenoord. Well, I haven't ever seen him, to be honest with you. If he's going to be better than him. So, yeah, I'd like to see Malacia start, but I have a sneaky suspicion Luke Shaw will start. And he'll probably start the season, to be honest with you. But Malacia, hopefully, will be able to make that spot his own and at least push him on. Tellers needs to go. He's not in contention for those two spots anymore. I mean, yeah. We've already talked about trying to move players on, but yeah, Malacia and Shaw would be really interesting on that left spot. It'd be nice to have someone on the right side, i.e. the Dumfries pushing Delo. But yet again, Wan-Bissaka needs to be moved on before that can be made. We can't have three really Premier League players, at least, I'm saying, playing in each position on the wing backs because I mean you never be able to keep them all happy with 3 players each position over there. Yeah, so it'll be really interesting to see what happens there. Then obviously we've talked about all the players that we're still looking to sign, and hopefully we can get them done in the next few years. Years. The way Manchester United does things will not surprise me because Jadon Sancho literally took years. It seems like this De Jong thing is going to take years. But yeah, no, look, I'm looking forward to it. There's been a few games now, 3 on the trot. We've played a lot more exciting football than I've expected of us. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow against Aston Villa. Hopefully we can maintain that press with our first team at least, for that whole 60 minutes or so that they're going to play together before changes are made. And then, yeah, look forward to getting back to Manchester United and linking up with Eriksen and Martinez and seeing how we adapt to these extra new players coming in. And yeah, things to get excited about. Thank you for joining me for another episode. It's been great. Yeah, it's quite a nice day outside, actually. It's looking at the ocean now. It's clear skies. We haven't had that for quite some time. It's been bloody miserable here in Australia. But yeah, clear skies. Actually went for a nice walk today, which was nice. And yeah, look forward to catching you guys next week. Unless something big happens, I may come on a bit earlier. But yeah, keep those questions coming in, and I'm sure to address them in future shows moving forward as well. Thanks very much for joining me. I'm Bryce. Thank you. Bye.